back to another mission of CIDEB Breaking News. In this episode, we will talk about chemistry. But what the hell is chemistry?
Well, chemistry is a science that studies a matter, its transformations and its compositions. But how is this science related with society? Well, fields such as warfare, agriculture, ecology, etc. depend on chemistry. In case of medicine, chemistry is a huge part of this science. In case of medicine, chemistry is a huge part of this science, but as diagnostic and treatment tool. Chemistry departments in hospital labs analyze blood, which is tested the levels of potassium and sodium, or urine for proteins, and how they do it is part of chemistry knowledge. Also, in the fabrication of drugs, which involves pharmaceutical chemistry, the science of matter takes place on most medications. To produce a drug that is any substance created to help recovery from sickness, you need a specific combination of proteins to block an enzyme or the expression of genes, which are affected by a virus or bacteria. Then, the drug will cut the RNA interference using ribosomes to inhibit the transmission of the virus or bacteria. There's also a lot of medications, from antibiotics that are drugs to prevent the growth of bacteria, to analgesics used to relieve the pain as aspirins.
The chemistry has three very important applications on the food. These applications are the food coloring, the artificial flavoring, and the food preservatives, of which I will speak. There are multiple substances that are created for the purpose of preserve the shelf life of the foods. Make these ones have a taste flavor and have a specific color. The food preservatives are antimicrobial substances capable to inhibit, retard, or stop the process of fermentation, mold, and other biological alterations of the food and beverages, ensuring that the foods have a longer shelf life until they are bought and used. Some examples of these are the sodium benzonate, the sodium propionate, the propionic acid, among others. Artificial flavorings enhance the flavor of foods. Example of these substances is the monosodium glutamate, substance that is very harmful for the organism and it's extremely recommended to don't consume it. And the food coloring is the one in charge to make the food taste a different color than originally it is. Some of these substances are prohibited in a few countries because they are carcinogen.
Thanks, Hugh. Now, we're going with Adam, that is going to share information with us about the melting of polar ice caps.
The melting of polar ice caps is a consequence of air pollution and deforestation. This is a threat to the weather of Mexico, since the sea level is in constant increase. The water that once was in solid state in form of the glaciers is now incorporating to the ocean. Natural disasters are more likely to occur, so in order to solve the problem, we need to focus on the main causes. The three best possible solutions for this problem are the following. The first one is reforestation. This will help to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas. As a consequence, the Earth will cool down and stop global warming. Stop using cars when not necessary. Cars are one of the main sources of greenhouse gas emissions. If we reduce their use, the emissions of poisonous gases would decrease, and consequently, the Earth will cool down and stop the melting of polar ice caps. And the third one, use alternative energy sources, such as wind power, hydraulic energy, and solar energy, among others. Just by this way, energy would be produced without environmental impact.
Thanks, Adam. Now we're going with Roger, that is going to talk about global warming.
There are many things that cause global warming. One of them is the greenhouse effect. But what is the greenhouse effect? The greenhouse effect is when the radiation from the sun gets trapped in Earth because of the gases that are in the atmosphere. One of the main gases that are in the atmosphere are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and ozone. All these gases can come from several sources of contamination. For example, cars, factories, animals, humans, etc.
Thanks, Roger. Now we're going with Sergio, that is going to talk about chemistry and warfare.
Chemical warfare involves using the toxic properties of chemical substances as weapons. And for this, I have a report that you'll see next. Yeah.
Hello, I am going to talk to you about chemistry in warfare. First, chemical warfare should not be mistaken with nuclear warfare or biological warfare, although together they form the NBC, nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare, and they are all part of the group of weapons of mass destruction. The use of non-living toxic products produced by living organisms is considered chemical warfare under the provisions of the Chemical Weapons Convention. Chemical weapons have existed since ancient times, in the industrial era and in the wars of the past centuries. In the Second World War, only two countries used chemical weapons, the Nazi Germany and the Imperial Japanese Army. After World War II, the chemical weapons started to get more popular and were used in the Iraq-Iran War, in the Syrian Civil War, and in many other wars. Treaties began to rise due to the increments of chemical weapons, and most of the countries have started to get rid of them. However, terrorists have been using them in civilian attacks. And that is all I'm going to talk about. Hope you're enjoying the show and stay tuned for more CIDEB breaking news.
Chemistry is really important in every area of our life. Advances in chemical compounds have brought new materials that make our life easier. A clear example is the plastic. It has numerous applications. Chemistry is also important when talking about medicine. In fact, plenty of people would have died if some chemical compounds were not discovered, such as penicillin. Chemistry allows us to apply different uses to different materials and chemicals to make life easier and safer.